All right, let's dive right into this explainer of a classic Tamil folktale that completely flips our expectations of human and animal morality. It's a story that goes way beyond a simple cozy fable. Instead, it's this incredibly intense psychological test about the absolute importance of loyalty, the corrosive nature of fear, and the irreversible consequences of betrayal. So, picture this. Put yourself in a terrifying life or death scenario where you are completely cornered. Your life is literally on the line. Would you trust the word of a wild predator? Keep that question in the back of your mind as we walk through the twists and turns of this narrative, because honestly, the answer might surprise you.
Okay, let's start with part one, trapped by a tiger.
Our narrative kicks off with Prince Manimaran. Now, his horse has just bolted in sheer terror, sensing lethal danger long before the prince even realized what was happening, leaving him totally stranded at a riverbank. And suddenly, emerging from the dense bushes with a terrifying roar is a hungry tiger, locking its gaze directly onto him. Obviously, facing a tiger on the ground is a guaranteed death sentence, so naturally the prince scrambles up the nearest tall tree to escape. But talk about jumping from the frying pan into the fire. He gets up there only to realize a giant bear is already sitting right there in the upper branches. If he goes down, the tiger gets him. If he climbs up, the bear gets him. He is absolutely paralyzed, nearly fainting from the sheer terror of this impossible trap.
Which brings us to part two, the bear's noble promise. You'd totally expect a territorial beast to just strike, right? But instead, the bear immediately disarms the tension. Offering absolute protection, the bear actually speaks to the terrified prince, recognizing his sheer panic. By declaring the tree its home and the prince its guest, the bear completely reshapes this whole dynamic. They go from predator and prey to host and sanctuary seeker. The bear basically tells him to rest easy, promising to protect him until the tiger finally leaves. Now, this introduces a foundational concept for this tale, dharma. This is the ultimate moral duty and cosmic law. In this specific situation, it's the sacred binding obligation to protect a vulnerable guest who comes seeking sanctuary. The prince gratefully acknowledges this, noting that such incredible adherence to dharma, actually saving a life, will earn the bear good karma for 7 rebirths. It's this profound, unexpected moment of mutual understanding and respect. But while the danger below hasn't moved an inch, the exhausting passage of time slowly begins to break down the prince's psychological endurance. Sunset passes, and the tiger just waits. By midnight, the prince is nodding off, at severe risk of just tumbling out of the branches straight into the tiger's jaws. Seeing this, the bear invites the prince to sleep safely in its lap while it takes the first watch, planning to switch at 3 a.m. I mean, what an incredible display of pure trust and loyalty. All right, part 3, the tiger's deception. So by midnight, the exhausted prince falls fast asleep on the bear's lap. And this is exactly when the tiger starts playing some serious psychological warfare. Realizing it can't climb the tree, the tiger decides to use cunning manipulation instead, attempting to build a completely false alliance. It urges the bear to just drop the human, arguing that humans are the true enemies of the forest. I mean, they're hunters after all. The tiger tries to tempt the bear, basically saying, look, I'm starving, drop him down, let me eat, and hey, you'll get the good karma of feeding a hungry creature. It is a highly persuasive, emotionally manipulative argument designed specifically to pit the animals against the human. But how does the bear respond to this temptation? He flat out rejects the tiger's logic. He states firmly that whether the human is a friend or foe, a promise of sanctuary was made, and that's that. The bear highlights the sheer vulnerability of the prince, who trusted his host enough to literally fall asleep in its lap. Finally, the bear warns that breaking such a sacred trust leads straight to hell for 7 rebirths. Right here, this wild beast perfectly embodies the utmost importance of loyalty, proving that moral integrity entirely outweighs primal hunger or the temptation of an easy alliance. Moving on to part 4, the prince's betrayal. The real turning point hits at 3 a.m. when they switch places. The bear sleeps, and the prince takes the watch. Now it's the human's turn to be tested. The tiger masterfully weaponizes the prince's deep paranoia, pointing out the sleeping bear's terrifying, sharp claws. Then it whispers the ultimate lie. The bear isn't protecting him at all. No, it's just waiting for its mate to arrive so they can slaughter and eat him together. The tiger finishes by promising that if the prince just pushes the sleeping bear down, the tiger will eat, be satisfied, and leave the prince in peace so he can go back to his palace. And this is just devastating. We see such a stark contrast. The wild beast, when tested, upheld absolute loyalty and defended the prince's life with unshakable moral clarity. But the civilized human? The very second he was manipulated by his own deep-seated fears, he didn't even hesitate. Abandoning his dharma, his duty, the prince succumbed to the ultimate betrayal. He pushed his sleeping protector off the branch just to save his own skin, completely severing the sacred bond of trust that had kept him alive in the first place. And that leads us into our final section, Part 5, the Curse of Treachery. So as the bear falls, it actually wakes up midair, realizes exactly what this human has just done, and miraculously catches a lower branch, narrowly avoiding the tiger's waiting jaws. You can just imagine the bear's righteous fury. It is palpable. It looks up at the prince and screams this powerful condemnation. Because to break a vow of sanctuary, to betray someone who literally offered their own lap for you to sleep on, it's an act so vile it defies all logic. It's a total violation of the universe's most basic laws of loyalty, and it demands a severe consequence. And so, the bear delivers a terrible curse. The prince is doomed to lose his mind, condemned to wander the dark forest eternally, babbling this meaningless phrase over and over again, Sasamira. The prince's mind just shatters under the crushing weight of his own treachery and the bear's magical wrath. Which brings us to our tragic conclusion. The tiger, witnessing the terrifying raw power of the bear's wrath, completely panics and flees into the night, probably terrified it might get cursed next. The prince, who is now physically safe but entirely morally destroyed, slowly climbs down from the tree. As the curse takes full hold, his mind is gone. He traded his integrity and committed the ultimate betrayal just to save his life, only to lose his sanity in the process, wandering into the wilderness forever just chanting, Sesamira, Sesamira. I really want to leave you with this thought-provoking question. This folktale is a brilliant reminder that true nobility isn't defined by whether you are a human or a beast. It's defined entirely by your choices in the darkest, most terrifying moments. So, when the chips are down, do you hold fast to loyalty like the noble bear, or do you let paranoia push you into the treachery of the prince? Keep that in mind the next time your own loyalties are put to the test. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.